Josh, I hope you choke on that popcorn. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Apex F1 podcast. I am back from Mexico. What a way to start it. I chose violence today because you know what? F it. That's why. So
Did
it
the
is.
cartel get you, or did you get clicked into the cartel?
Yes, that's exactly. I'm just mad I'm back to the U.S. with responsibilities. Me, the man with this awful looking mustache that I'm trying to grow out, I am Paul. Welcome back to another episode, everybody. The beautiful woman right there wearing that Ferrari red is Meredith. Meredith, how are you today?
I am a little devastated for Ferrari, happy because of Lando, but happy to be here with you three. You three? God, I'm doing it. I'm doing it now.
You three?
Oh, no.
All,
Yeah.
all's you three.
God, we are just messed up. But yes,
The wheels are coming off the bus.
I don't think the wheels were ever on the bus today, the way we started this. But you've had a roller coaster of emotions this weekend, and we're going to get into that because you're happy in one sense, you're sad in another. I can't wait to get into it. The man with the actual beautiful mustache, look at that thing. That thing is beautiful. That thing can tell you some stories if you bought it enough beers. Josh, how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
How's that popcorn?
It's good. My dog's eating most of it now.
Son of
We're
a
about
gun.
to do
Did you get the extra? Did you get the movie theater extra buttery stuff or just the regular?
Yeah, of course I did. I got like the whole case of it from Sam's Club too, so I've just got like a thing of popcorn.
Man, the munchies are kicking in hard for you today. All right, guys, let's get into it. We are talking to you guys a couple days after the Brazilian Grand Prix race. And what a race it was. Brazil never disappoints. It always seems to amaze us. You never know what you're going to get. Truly, literally, you don't know what you're going to get from weather, from strategies, from what's going to happen. It was amazing. Josh, what did you think about the race?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed when I woke up and saw that rain was off the chances. I looked at the forecast like first thing because I was so hopeful for a wet race, but you know, there was some variation in strategy. There was a lot of talk about what they had resurfaced the track, so there was going to be a difference in degradation than years past. And then we were treated to just an absolute show by Max Verstappen, and I don't even want to talk about anything else during that race because I don't like any of the rest of it. But I will talk about Max being just an absolute domination. Like, he's just a force of nature, man. It's whatever it is in Brazil, he is just inevitable.
You know, what else is there to say about him? I hate that, what's the saying? I hate that I love you, but I love to hate you or something like that. That man is just incredible. Starting from the pit lane to finish on the podium. Holy shit. I mean, there's no other way to explain it. That man is cut from a different cloth. But let me switch over to Meredith here real quick. Meredith, thoughts on this weekend's race?
I mean, it was one of my favorite races this season. I think same as Josh, the night before when I looked and I was like, oh, okay, rain's no longer an element here. I was like, okay, well, that kind of like evens things out a little bit. Like we could expect to see a more standard performance out of the teams than maybe we would have expected had there been rain. I know we've talked about rain being the great equalizer. So I was like, oh, okay. So like I'm pretty safe with my podium predictions here, and then qualifying happened. And then I was like, what? And I don't ever count Max out. Like, I had posted a little funny video about like being excited about Max starting from the pit lane, and people like came for me in the comments, and I was like, whatever, but I literally said in the caption, like, it doesn't look like a Max win is likely, but like never count him out. And I truly do believe that. Like, he is such a talented driver. He's got the determination that there is like a magic of Brazil with him. It is absolutely undeniable. So that was just an incredibly dominant performance by Max. But I do think I'd be remiss to not talk about Lando's perfect weekend. I mean, other than Alex Albon taking away fastest lap and setting a new track record, he P1, sprint win, P1, converted a win. And I think that it just really shows a level-headed Lando that I think a lot of us have been looking for the last few years. The last few years, everybody talked about Lando crumbling. So outside of Max's dominance, I think we're seeing Lando really learn that mental fortitude as a driver that we've all been wanting him to find. So that was really, really great to see. But I think probably those last 10 laps where Kimi defended and held off Max to hold on to second, that like we'd be idiots to not talk about that, because for him to be such a young driver, to have Max Verstappen up your ass, do you want me to let him pass too? I just thought Kimi did incredible. So those were really my strong highlight moments of the weekend. Domination by Max, incredible performance. Lando perfectly executing, really showing how far he's come mentally, and Kimi being able to defend and hold off and just remain level headed all the way through those final 10 laps. Those are my top three.
I think we've definitely seen a different Lando in these last handful of races, and I don't know if I want to say maturity. He's kind of grown in maturity, but I think we've just seen a more even keel, more just focus on what he's doing. And in the other side of the coin, we've seen if disheveled Oscar, the word I want to use, or just not himself. He's these last, what is it, 5 races he's had issues, whether it's in qualifying, whether it's in sprint races. He just something seems off about Oscar here. So, but we're gonna get into
Since
that.
Monza, I mean, like literally,
Mhm.
like I think y'all probably saw it on your feeds too, like the comparison of how many points he's scored since Monza versus Kimi, and like Kimi's severely outscored Oscar since Monza. And I think Josh, you said it in our group chat, like Oscar blew this championship fight. Like I think he would have won it if he would have been delivering consistently the way that he had been at the earlier part of the season, even through summer break. But yeah, it's been really tough to watch because I like Oscar a lot, and I think that's it's really tough to see. And I think we all agree that the team dynamic at McLaren has absolutely played into that and played into that like psyche, which is a huge part of being a driver, I think.
We'll put a pin on that thing that you just brought up. But Josh, any other thoughts that you had before we kind of get into the start of the race?
So here's what I noticed more so, with Gabby being the exception to what I'm about to say. It seems like for me, this is where I've noticed the rookies have really come into their own. Unfortunately, Gabby just really wasn't given the opportunity to just get as stable as he wanted to be. For this weekend, it kind of just looked shaky. I mean, he had the massive shunt in the sprint after doing pretty well through it. So I think that kind of set him on a back foot. He's going to drive timid after that and the pressure of being in a home race. But I mean, let's look at our other rookies here. Our number two, our silver place on the podium is as what, an 18, 19-year-old kid, a 19-year-old kid who's driving a Formula One car for the first time and one of the biggest teams in the sport. That's unbelievable. The race he had, I think he would have had an opportunity to win if it wasn't for that contact with Oscar. I think that he was already pushing Lando, and with with the opportunity for DRS in the lap after, he very well could have had a chance, at least with battling him wheel to wheel. Maybe not overtaking him, maybe not winning, but at least giving him a wheel to wheel battle that Lando just didn't get for the entire race. So, dang dog. So, who else we got? We got other rookies. We got Ollie. Ollie Behrman has become just a absolute stud in qualifying.
Love it.
listen,
I love
very-
to see it.
What did I say in the
Very
group chat?
impressive.
Ollie Behrman's got that dog in him.
I'm that dog
He-
in him. Oh.
That dude is on another level right now. It is
He's going to
good
be
for
a
him.
problem.
In a
Ollie Behrman's going to be a
Haas, no
problem.
less. In a
Mhm.
Haas.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
make sure we address that. It's in a Haas car. By all stretch, Ocon Esteban doesn't look very comfortable in that Haas car, but yet Ollie seems to be squeezing every bit of power out of that thing.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Ollie's performance over the last several races. Like you said, he's creating pretty good gap between him and his teammate there. He's definitely giving him a run for his money. And Esteban's a race winner. He's no slouch either. So if the fact that Ollie's in equal machinery and able to just out-qualify him pretty handedly is impressive. Had the best time in in the second phase of qualifying for the main race. Just very impressive there. Isaac had a great race. He
And
even
Liam.
was a
Liam and Isaac both in the point.
yeah,
Both racing both in the point.
yeah, both in points. I think Isaac had a disadvantage being on a different tire strategy and really had to do some defense of his own to keep some of the field off of him. But our rookies looked very, very comfortable, and I think we're starting to see them finally become very comfortable with going wheel to wheel and finding their limits. And it just gives me a little hope for next year about how close some of these battles could become.
Yeah, I think it's really fun to watch this like next generation of drivers this is a big rookie class, and to see them growing and gaining the confidence and becoming more comfortable in the car, I think it's been really fun to watch. And I hated this weekend for Gabby. Like it absolutely broke my heart because to me, I think like Kimi was an obvious choice, but the ones that I have loved watching grow the most this year have been Isaac and Gabriel. And I think Gabriel, why did I say it like that? I think I've really loved watching them grow, gain that confidence, really show themselves. Gabby's had an amazing last few races. I mean, like just we talked about it on our last couple podcasts, like Stake in general. Like him and Nico are finding something, and I think it's been really fun to watch. I think Isaac's really come into his own. Ollie's just doing really strong. So I think it's been really great to see the rookies deliver. I do think where we contrast, and it's kind of hard to see, is like Franco Colapinto in the Alpine. I'm really glad he got re-signed. That's awesome. Let's give him time to grow and develop in an Alpine. But
Hmm.
I'm glad they re-signed him because I do think he just needs time, and I think he needs a better car.
I think the three of us can agree that this sport is going to be in great hands in a couple years when these rookies become more veterans. There's a lot of potential on all of them, whether it's Colapinto in an awful Alpine car or Kimi in a Mercedes car. This sport is going to be in great hands, and I'm super excited for the future. But on that note, let's kind of get into the start of the race. Things got pretty spicy at the beginning.
Like I need to get up my lap by lap notes. At one point, it just changed to like single words on here. Literally, Brazil. The first thing it says is.
But I don't think it was his fault. Let's kind of get into the start of the race. The big thing I want to talk about at the start was it seemed like Lewis made a very rookie mistake, running the front of his car into what Colapinto and completely ruining the front end. I don't know if we can say that that's him the last couple years in a nutshell, or him with Ferrari in a nutshell, but that him not knowing the distance between the front of his car and Colapinto, it seemed to be a very rookie mistake, not one that we see him make often, and just goes to show that it's just not quite there. What did you guys think about that, Josh?
Well, it seemed like it was the result of him trying to just do too much after a poor start. He had a poor start, lost positions, kind of got closed off. He wanted to it looked like he tried to make the same move as he did for the sprint race by going around the outside, and he was able to make up several positions during the sprint, but he got closed off right at the start and lost several positions, had some issues. And it seemed like after that, he was on the back foot trying to make up positions and trying to, force the issue maybe. And in the spot that he did the damage to his car, right? That's a terrible spot to do that, right? It's such a long straight. It's a DRS straight. Not that he had DRS at the time, but it goes to show you do have a long way to go up the hill and then down past the pits to the first of the Senna S's. It was just, like you said, it was a move that we see him make all the time. He likes that, getting as close as he can with the slipstream and then just shooting out one way or the other. That's a move we see him make often. He likes that move, but I think he just misjudged it. I think he was trying to get as close as physically possible to maybe try to go for the double overtake there and misjudged it and effectively ended his race right there. Caused a lot of damage to the floor, and that was really it.
Like there was so much that happened in those first two laps. Like I feel like all of it was like there was Stroll, there was Hamilton and Colapinto, there was Sainz. Like there was so much contact right at the beginning, and I feel like because camera angles moved and then they were trying to show like Lando up in the lead, that like I feel like there were so many little things that happened right at the jump that I was just kind of on overload. Like I was like, what the hell even just happened, And I think obviously with Lando having a good start, I was mostly just so excited about that I kind of like lost it for a second of like, I'm like looking for where everybody else is, but then you've got multiple places of contact. I'm trying to catch up and watch the replays that are happening in those first two laps. But then Gabby Bortoleto goes out, And so it's like, I felt like with the way the broadcast happened and so much happening at first, I felt like it was just genuinely overwhelming how much happened in those first two laps, like right before that safety car came out. So I felt like it was just, I couldn't even process it. Like, I think you're right, Josh. It's a move that we see Hamilton make all the time. But at the time of the race happening, I genuinely could not process how much was happening in the first two laps.
Yeah, I don't even think we saw the replay. We didn't even see the replay of what happened to Lewis for like several minutes into the safety car period. It's because I was sitting there thinking, what happened? We saw him with the damage to the front of his car. And it was minutes before we even saw the first of the replays to show us what happened. So the focus was on Gabby at the time. But yeah, there's so much that was going on that it was like, I'm kind of glad that there was a safety car, so we got caught up because there was so many things that happened during that.
I need a freaking minute. Like let me breathe, let me bring my heart rate down and let me figure out actually what happened. And it's like I have a couple of friends that watch racing and it's like getting texts on 5 different threads at the same time and everybody like, wait, what happened? What? I don't know. It's like I just need a minute.
Yeah, sorry, I had to go shut some blinds off. The sun was beating at the weird spot.
It was blinding you.
You're an idiot. But yeah, awful for Gabby. His home race ends as it starts, just awful. But let's kind of get into right after that first safety car. Oscar, Kimi, Charles. What did we think? Who was at fault?
Oscar.
Yeah?
Oscar. Yeah.
I think
Initially,
Oscar was at fault.
yeah, I definitely
Do
think
we
Oscar's at
think
fault.
do we think Kimi has maybe a little bit of fault in that whole process, or it was
No.
strictly all Oscar's fault?
I
Because
mean, like,
personally,
he had to. Kimi had to move and go wide to avoid contact. He was
Mhm.
trying to swerve. Like, Oscar was out like a madman. And had he done it clean, it would have been arguably one of the best restarts of the season outside of Max in this race as well. But he didn't do it clean. He cut in too hard. He was too aggressive. He came in with too much speed, forced everyone wide. Kimi had nowhere to go. He had to pull wide. And then he spins and he hits Charles. And people come in comments and stuff are like, Kimi had plenty of room. I'm sorry. Did we watch different races? Kimi had no room. He had nowhere to go. If he wouldn't have pulled wide a little bit right, he would have gotten hit. And it's like Oscar was ahead. That doesn't matter. He left him no room. He forced another driver to cause a collision. Like, I think Oscar was 100% at fault. I do not think Kimi was at fault. That is my opinion.
Josh.
Yeah. I mean, Kimi was in a tough spot. He was kind of caught off guard at the restart. So I will say, if you want to put any blame on Kimi, he wasn't paying attention. He got caught sleeping, and it was then flanked by two of his competitors.
Not sleeping.
Yeah, he got caught sleeping there. And so he's got Charles on one side and he's got Oscar on the other. I think the problem is not necessarily the lines they took, right? They were all evenly spaced. It was fine going into the corner. Where the issues began is when Oscar locked up. Oscar carried a little bit too much speed into the corner, especially to try to take the inside line. It's an earlier apex and he missed it. He missed his apex and then obviously lost control of his car, which is what I think the stewards were looking at when they gave the 10-second penalty. Had that been contact in another way that, Oscar didn't lose control of the car, it may have been a 5-second penalty, right? But because he lost control and that caused contact that also put out, a contender for a race win out of the race, that's an easy decision on the 10 seconds. But yes, if with Oscar locking up, it wasn't necessarily anyone's direct fault. It was just it was a true racing incident, but Oscar has to maintain control of the car. It's unfortunate for Charles, who looked like if he had continued that move, he probably would have made the move on Kimi from there and been on for a second place. So that was unfortunate. I hated that. That's Ferrari in a nutshell right there. But for the people that sit here and say that Kimi had plenty of room, well, obviously he didn't, because when Oscar made that contact, it wasn't like Kimi's car was sent 10, 15 feet over to make contact with Charles. It was immediate, right? They were already wheel to wheel. When that contact was made, it was, very brief, but a strong hit. And so if you think Kimi had any room to move over, I mean, then he would have had room to, after the contact to try to get the car squared back up. We're lucky that Kimi just didn't get knocked out of the race, because that was a hard hit, and it probably should have broken the suspension, right? That should have ended his race right there. But he was very fortunate in the way it happened. Unfortunate for Charles, and we'll go back to Oscar. I mean, the cracks began a long time ago, but the ice, I've seen all the memes lately of it's all the ice melting, ice cubes melting, because talk about the Iceman earlier in the season, and it's melting. It's not Oscar's turn, right? It's a great experience that he had here in this battle for the championship, but this is the same experience that Lando had last year, right? It was the same experience that he had with the the possibilities and the pressure, and Lando has come out better for it this year, and we can see his mental is way stronger than he was last year, and we can just hope that Oscar takes that same lesson and can apply it to next year.
Do you think there's any chance of Oscar recovering that with a little bit of a reset right here, a weekend off, maybe coming into Vegas? Like, do you, in your opinion, Josh, do you think he is out of title contention, like he is in mental shambles where he is right now? Or do you think that he can pull it back together, 3 races to go, to come and fight for that?
I mean, they've got a difference of how many points is it?
I think it's 30, 390 to 366, 24? I believe.
Yeah. So I mean, it's doable, right? Like, that is possible. But with that car looking as strong as it is, now the caveat is, the McLarens are not going to be very quick around Vegas. It's cold. There's not a lot of high-speed corners. It's all low-speed corners and straights, which is not going to do well for McLaren. So we don't know. Maybe Oscar has an amazing race and is able to qualify well and play defense and beat out Lando, right? But to me, Lando has seemed he's rock solid now to me. He had that little pressure regaining the championship lead, but now that he has it, it almost feels like he took possession of what was his, right? That's how I feel like the comments he makes. He seems so secure in the lead right now, not necessarily that timid. I'm under pressure. I'm feeling the pressure. I've got to make this work. It really just seems like he's reclaimed ownership, and he's just, man, he looks just super solid right now. And yeah, with Oscar having so many issues over the last several races, I just don't necessarily see him making a charge with 3 races left, right? It seems very off. No, I don't necessarily. I think, as much as I hate to say it, because I'd love to see Oscar win the championship over Lando, I don't see it happening.
I mean, I agree. Yeah, I think it was Oscar's fault. We can try to blame Kimi, but that's just being dumb. It was Oscar who locked up, who made the move there, and I think we forget how young Oscar is. He's only been a driver 3 years.
Mm-hmm. This is third season.
Yeah, so I think we forget how young he is, and maybe the pressure is getting to him. Maybe this is what he needed to kind of focus and bring some aggression into next year. The downfall for next year is that literally everybody's going to be on an even playing field because new car, new regulations. So, you don't really have that step up that you had above everyone else this year. So, but
I do kind of feel like maybe there's a little bit of if everybody's going to be on an even playing field, then maybe those that have that mental fortitude are going to be in a better position. If everybody's cars are going to be kind of a level playing field, then, I do feel like maybe we're in like a little bit of a forged by fire situation with Oscar, of like Lando's had to go through the pits of despair, bottom out, build back up that mentality to be at the place he is now. Maybe we're seeing that with Oscar right now. Maybe we're seeing him go through kind of like what we saw Lando go through last year, to your point, Josh. And maybe this time next year in a season, we're going to see Oscar just, like maybe the Iceman is no longer, right? Maybe he needed to go through this to feel these things, to like mature as a driver, to really flex that muscle and be like, okay, I learned the skills to overcome that now and to have that resilience mentally. So maybe next year we'll be in a position with Oscar where he's gone through that, whereas maybe some of the other drivers haven't faced that challenge yet. And I'm sure every driver goes through that at some point in their career where they're like doing really well and then you bottom out and you have to like pick yourself back up, even when mentally you just kind of maybe want to crumble. So I really do think I do think we're going to see Oscar absolutely thrive. But I think it benefits him that we've leveled the playing field. It's like, let me learn to bottom out, regrow, be mentally strong, and then just charge. So I think it could be really good for him.
And hang on, let's settle things down a little bit though. It's still not over, right? There's still a possibility for him to win.
Yeah, I mean, any race, anything could happen.
Absolutely. So, we've seen weirder things happen throughout. So maybe there is that chance. I think we're starting to kind of see the writing on the wall. He's had so many issues in the last handful of races that, maybe this is that tipping point that he just wasn't mentally strong, or maybe he's just going to surprise the shit out of all of us and come back and win this, at the very end. So who knows? Only thing he can do from this is learn and look within himself and try to be better. And, what's the saying? It's not over till it's over.
Yeah.
There's still...
Agreed. But regardless, he's already bottomed out mentally. Like, we can't deny what has happened since Monza. So I think whenever the rebuild is, if it's, hey, him coming back for a charge these last few races, he hits the reset button before Vegas, awesome. I mean, but regardless, I think he's going to come out of whatever has happened these last few races stronger as a driver long term because of it. I think that's what I was trying to say. Not necessarily like, oh, it's done for the year, but more so just that, like, no matter what, I do think Oscar's going to be a better driver because of what's happened in the last few weeks.
Absolutely. I mean, you can only grow from here and get better from here and take this into the next decade in your career, because I think we're going to see Oscar on that grid for years and years to come.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully leading all those rookies. Like, hopefully it's just like him smoking those rookies and then fighting him for it.
Yeah.
Not like Lando's that much, not like Lando is that much older. Lando just joined the grid really young too. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think we're in a good wave of next gen drivers.
So, piggybacking off that incident, after the safety car. Lando got hit with a 10-second penalty, which I think the three of us can agree was fair.
I mean, Oscar.
What did I say? Dang, the Adderall has not kicked in yet. Oscar got hit with 10-second penalty, which I think the three of us can agree was fair. I think it was just. It needed to happen. So, it kind of put him on a back step, and one that he was never truly fully able to recover from. At the beginning, it looked like maybe a podium was in his future, but with that 10th second, he ended up finishing 5th. What did you guys think about that?
He was fortunate to get that.
Yeah.
Agreed. I'm like, I
Absolutely.
would have loved to see Oscar on the podium, especially for my freaking predictions. But,
We're not going to get
you
into
know,
that because mine were
I would have
awful.
loved to see Oscar on the podium for my predictions, but I mean, I think he's lucky it didn't end his race too. Like I think he's lucky he got 5th. I think he needs to be happy with the fact that he picked up points. He didn't he didn't directly end other people's races. Like his situation with Kimmy could have been much worse. Could have ended his race. Could have ended Kimmy's race. So I think he needs to be happy with 5th. Be glad he got the points and that he's still in the title fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it needed to happen. But the another driver that had an awful time with penalties, poor Yuki. He was doing so well at the beginning, then got hit with that 10-second penalty, and then they didn't serve the 10-second penalty correctly, so then he got slapped with another 10-second penalty. So he started towards the top, was kind of, towards the middle top, and he just, after those 20 seconds, he just could not get out of the bottom. So awful weekend for Yuki, who we've kind of seen him try to get used to that car a little bit, and we've seen some good form out of him.
Yeah.
But it was just tough to see that for poor Yuki, because it seems like this is his last couple races in Formula One. I think his Formula One career is coming to an end, and you hate to see it end like that. Hopefully he can figure something out for the next 3 races and try to go on somewhat of a high note.
I just think it's asinine that Liam Lawson would have a seat over Yuki. I
He
just
won't.
don't get it. Like, if we're talking
Liam,
about skill level, I would actually probably put them pretty similarly, and they have very similar driving styles. Short, spunky, sprinty, punchy. They get in there, they're not afraid to go after it. But if we're talking about the amount of damages, like Liam is a menace out there. He is wrecking cars constantly. He's DNFing a lot. Like, so if you're in, racing bulls and you're looking at which driver, statistically speaking, if they're on an even playing field competitively, and I don't know, like I know it's not going to happen. Like Yuki's going to be gone, which sucks, but like I just don't understand why they would keep Liam over Yuki. But I know they have Red Bull's different. They've got an incredible bench warmed, great drivers in the driver academy. I don't think Arvid really lived up to the pressure in his test like he could have. But I don't know. It's just like the idea of other drivers being on the grid still and Yuki not, when I think Yuki is a decent driver. It's one of the things about F1 that pisses me off.
Josh?
So I'll go back to our favorite former team principal, Christian Horner. When these discussions were happening over the beginning of the season about who was going to take the second Red Bull seat, there were discussions around both these drivers, right? The statement made was that Yuki has reached his ceiling, right? Like he's had enough time in the junior team and then was now given the time in the senior team, so I feel comfortable saying this as well. He's reached his ceiling. This is the performance he has. The comment made was that Liam Lawson has more to learn and more to gain and potentially has a higher ceiling than Yuki. Now, will he reach that? I don't know. He's not doing himself a lot of favors.
Scratched out on the wall before he gets to this.
Right. And that's the beauty of the junior team, right? They'll give him an opportunity next season. If they get to the summer break and he's still doing the same shit he's doing now, and there's a kid below him that's, driving great in F2 or whatever the case may be, they'll knock him out and take the next guy. Right. So I hate it. I hate it for Yuki, but I don't want to compare the two directly because I don't think that's necessarily fair to either of them. But Yuki's had his opportunity. He's not made the best of it either, just like Liam didn't. And Liam was given,
anybody that's in that second seat, that second Red Bull seat, we just know it.
Yeah, it's been a problem. I mean, half the grid at this point has driven the second Red Bull seat, right? It's a large majority, and it'll be another one next year.
Literally, it's not just
seriously.
the same.
I mean,
literally, so many drivers have
Gasly, Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
You know what's
it is.
wild though is that like I don't recall those drivers crashing out. Like,
Well, go look at
you know,
Alex.
like
Alex Albon.
but not like
Pierre had a much
consistently.
better time.
Yeah,
Alex, that's
I'm
why he
just
got
meaning
canned so
like not
quickly.
like consistently.
Yeah.
Like when I started watching, I like I think back to Signs, I think back to Albon, I think back to Pierre, I think back to Danny Rick. I don't like even like Checo, like these drivers were competitive, you know, like Red Bull was known and was dominant and won so many championships because they had two contributing drivers. Right now it feels like Max and the shit show. It's just Max and the shit show. Whoever is in that second seat is Max and the shit show. So I just like I want to know what went so wrong with the car or the team that no matter what, that second car is just like not delivering. Where in previous seasons it was.
I think the only two that really delivered was Danny and Checo, because Alex had an awful showing in that Red Bull car. That 2020 season, he was awful. Pierre had an awful showing too. So
Yeah.
it's just, I think Checo's alluded to this. If you hear some of his interviews that he's done throughout this year, the pressure that gets put on you, it just becomes tremendous. And when the bar is Max Verstappen, who I say it once, I'll say it again, he was fucking created in the lab for this. He's not human. It's not just to compare the two, because look what Max can do.
Yeah.
No one can do what Max can do. The pressure that comes behind it, it's just tremendous. And a lot of people can't do it. And a lot of young drivers can't do it.
Yeah.
Hell, we
I
saw
think that
Checo.
it would be so much harder to be a younger rookie driver sitting in that second seat, in my opinion, than it is to be a seasoned driver who understands the role of a second driver at Red Bull and a second driver to Max.
And we saw what Checo did that first year and a half with Red Bull. He was competing with Max. It was a 1-2. It was a 2-3. He was up there. He was the main reason that Max ended up winning that, his third title, because he was just competing so well. But what happens? The pressure becomes too much. Then you start self-doubting yourself. And now Max is outpacing you. And now it's Helmut Marko and Christian Horner going, figure it out, figure it out, figure it out. It's a trajectory that is a downfall for anyone. Unfortunately, it's what it is. It's a toxic relationship.
But I'll be honest, I don't.
All right, we're scrapping it. We're rebuilding the grid. Each team only gets one driver.
But go ahead, Josh. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, let's be honest, there are different levels to drivers, right? Like, we're not going to say that Max Verstappen's in the same league as Franco Colapinto, right? Those guys are not the same. We wouldn't put them in the same league. I do not think that there has been an A or B tiered driver, we'll put it that way, in the second Red Bull seat. Checo was borderline B, right? Like, I think he had a race win. He put enough good performances in. We probably put him in like that B tier. But everybody else was very fresh, very green, and had no chance. So it's not like we had.
I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
But hold on. But I don't consider Danny Rick. I don't consider Danny Rick in this conversation because Danny Rick wasn't driving the ground effect era car like that we see today.
True.
It's a completely different car. He was driving a completely different era of car. So I will say that he left by choice, not by skill. He left to go be the number one somewhere else. So I don't really see Danny Rick in that same conversation. Well, yeah, 100% was the biggest mistake of his life. But I don't think no one else is even close to being able to perform at that level. And so I think it's like, we can say second seat curse, but no driver they've put in there has really been that top quality, I don't think.
League of his own. He's a league of his own.
No, you got drivers that have had one-offs and have shown somewhat, but sustained success in that second seat car has pretty much not been existent in this new generation of vehicles.
I would love like a virtual reality race where I could race as like the best F1 drivers from all their eras. Like, I know all the cars are so completely different, right? But like, I mean, I'm just like thinking about like Lewis in his prime, Max in his prime, Kimi Räikkönen. Like, I'm just like, it'd be so fun to have like a race of the greats. Like, it'd be so cool. Like, imagine like a VR experience at the Sphere in this race of the greats. I would pay money to go see that.
That would be pretty cool. So let's kind of shift gears back into the race. It was, what did you guys think about the rest of the race? I mean, nothing pretty much eventful. I mean, Max just kept climbing the standings as he always does.
My last note was 38. Hamilton retires. After that, I was just like, all right, take a deep breath.
That's what I was going to say. Lewis just had that awful floor damage, which pretty much, I mean, Josh and I talked to, we both brought it up in the group chat. That car just looked unstable in those corners. It was
Yeah.
awful. It was a miracle that he
Dangerous.
held it together.
Yeah.
I
So,
couldn't
you
believe
know,
that they
thought-
left him out there. I couldn't believe
Yeah.
they left him out as long as they did, especially with it being the end of the season, and most teams are going to be coming up shorter to their allotted components, right? So it's surprising that they leave him out and put the miles on the power unit, put the miles on the ECU and everything else, that instead of just cutting their losses, they could see that that car had lost, 30-something points of downforce. So why even put the miles on the car at that point?
yeah, it didn't make
I
sense,
agree.
but
I
it
think
was,
it's just like it's
go ahead.
this is a time again where I enjoy being a fan of multiple drivers and teams, but like I love Ferrari. And it is really hard to see Ferrari have a weekend like this where, Charles had a really great qualifying. I think he could have gotten up there. I think he could have podiumed. I really do think that. And, maybe that's just me being optimistic since it was just a restart, still so early on in the race, so many elements at play. But a double Ferrari DNF just sucks. It just sucks. It's bad for motorsport, okay? A double Ferrari DNF is bad for all of motorsport. I will stand by that. And it was bad for my Sunday.
Listen, I have been very vocal on the fact that I hate this new generation of vehicles. I cannot wait for 2026 and that new car, and hopefully it's a better car. But I think there's another person in this world that shares that excitement, maybe if not more than me, and that's Lewis. I think he's truly hated this generation of vehicles. He totally needs a fresh restart, and these next 3 races cannot end quick enough for that man.
Yep. And do you guys see the comments made by the CEO of Ferrari?
I was gonna wait till after we kind of wrap up this
Okay, go
race
ahead.
to
Yeah,
talk
go ahead.
about it, but let's put a pin on that too. It just kind of Lando wins the race. It was kind of exciting. Max was giving the battle to Kimi, which we alluded towards the top. Good for Kimi for holding it together because Max was in a fucking tear, man.
Especially those last 4 laps. I was literally like, I didn't want to blink because I was afraid that if I blinked, I would miss it. And I was like, nobody move. Nobody move. I was like superstitious because I cared that much about Kimi holding.
I was poolside watching it on my laptop in Mexico, and at those last 4 or 5 laps, I had like 4 or 5 people behind me watching it with me because it was incredible. Kudos to Kimi for holding it in there. That kid's gonna be something. That kid is gonna be something, all right. And I'm glad he's there. Yeah, I just can't talk about it enough. How incredible Max is. I'm not his biggest fan. I've been very vocal about that. But man, if you're a sports fan, if you love this sport, if you just love competition, there's nothing better than from starting to the pit lane to coming in third. I really thought had this gone another maybe 10 laps, I think he would have won this race.
Oh, if he wouldn't have had that puncture and had to go back in, I think he
Yep.
would have won it. I'm not sure who said
Yep.
it in the group chat, but like full on a reality, a full on possibility of him winning that.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. Josh,
Yeah, just
any last final thoughts, Josh, on this race before we move on to something else?
No, it was just nice to see a race that finally had a good lot of overtaking, right? Like we had plenty to choose from, to pick from, to talk about. So it was better than just a linear start to finish with nothing going on.
Absolutely. Brazil
Are
definitely.
you brewing a pot of coffee, Josh?
No, Courtney is now.
I was like, I swear I hear.
I
I
was-
swear I hear something.
I was
Yeah,
trying
it's
to
gone.
avoid talking about the background noise, but I was
A
like,
little
what?
afternoon pick me up.
I was wondering what was going on in the background. I was just gonna go
Yeah, it's a
right
coffee
over
machine.
that.
Gosh, that sounds great. Maybe I need a little afternoon espresso.
You know what? A little afternoon coffee just hits. I gotta be honest with
Maybe
you.
I'll make an iced latte.
Bougie over there. Meredith, what about you? What were your last final thoughts on this race as we kind of wrap it up for the day?
I think it was just a really exciting race overall. It seems like the drivers really love Brazil. So I feel like going from the highs of like a race like Brazil to having a week off to the highs of Vegas, I feel like this is a really fun time of season for the drivers. I'm sure there's a lot of stress for the drivers that are in title contention, but everybody really seems to enjoy Brazil. I think there's such a special, special relationship because of Senna and everything that he did for sports. So I think that all the drivers really love it and appreciate it. And I'm excited for Vegas. I'm excited to be going. It's going to be great. Yeah, I was really glad we had a good race and a lot of excitement.
Absolutely. Brazil, another one of those races that's amazing, and one that I hope never leaves the calendar. It's one of those races we truly need. Hell, let's have more of these. Please give me more Brazil. Even the sprint race was exciting. Give me all in Brazil. It was amazing. But Josh kind of talked about it after the race. The Ferrari CEO came out and said some pretty bullshit statement, which, in my opinion, I think speaks volumes about where this team is. But I'll let Josh talk about it. Josh, go ahead.
Oh, well, just the comments made basically, to summarize them, first day of conversation, was that the drivers need to worry more about the team than themselves, and basically put a lot of blame on the drivers individually for the performances of the team. I'm hoping that these comments were made in haste after a disappointment of the weekend, and they weren't necessarily true to what the feelings are of the drivers, because I really seem like, obviously the drivers came out after the fact and made joint statements pretty much.
I'm
They
so
released
sorry.
them at the same
Can
time.
y'all? My mic is picking up Biscuit snoring. I'm so sorry. This
No, I can't hear it at all.
well, I can hear it, but then I noticed every time she was doing it, my little yellow square was lighting up. I'm so sorry to interrupt, Josh. I
No,
apologize if you
No,
can
you're
hear
fine.
Biscuit snoring.
go ahead. Keep going, Josh.
No, that was basically it. Like, the statement made, hey, drivers gotta put the team first, which I don't think that either guy had done anything to deserve that comment. So, what do you guys think on the comments made?
I think he
Meredith,
looks unprofessional as hell right now. These drivers are humans in one of the highest stakes sports on the planet, and they are entitled to have emotions and to share those emotions. And also, Lewis has always been very vocal about voicing his emotions and how important that is for mental health, to be able to express yourself and express your emotions, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think for him to come out and make comments about, they need to talk less and drive more. Yeah, let's see you get in that car. Let's see you get out there after you're the most accomplished F1 driver of all time. And you are now performing at this level, and how hard and challenging that is. And to retire and not finish races, like, that is such a tough transition. And I think it's highly, highly, highly unprofessional for him to make a comment like that. Lewis's comments have not ever been bashing Ferrari. If anything, he has blamed himself. He said, it's not the car, it's me, right? So for Mr. Ferrari, CEO, to come out and bash a driver like that very pointedly without saying his name, I think it's extremely, extremely unprofessional. When a driver is not performing and takes accountability and says it's them, and then the CEO comes out and says, less talking, more driving. I just think it's such a bad look for House of Ferrari. I think it's terrible. I think it's unprofessional. I think he needs media training. For a driver to share their emotion and be upset, that's okay. That is professional. He didn't bash the team. So I think it's a disappointment. I hope Ferrari addresses that.
Yeah, I think we've heard it all year long, pre and post race interviews. Both drivers have been said, we're going to work with the team. Yes, the car is not there, but we're here to work with the team. We want to get the team better. Hell, Lewis spent most of his summer break printing out documents, doing the research, figuring out what to do to make that piece of shit car better. And let's call it what it is. That car's been a piece of shit all year. In seemingly a year when that car should have been competing towards the top.
100%.
Based on the way they ended last year, that car's been a total turd, a total piece of crap. Yet these drivers are still there fighting for it, and they're still fighting for the team. And I think the CEO coming out and say it goes to show that Ferrari is its own worst enemy, and you'll never be bigger than the team. The team is always going to come first, and you either have to drink the Ferrari red Kool-Aid or you're just going to get kicked out. And it can't be that. You have to take these drivers' input into consideration. It's a high-stakes, very emotional sport, and these drivers are going to talk. Don't put a microphone in their face, and don't give them such PR if you don't want them to talk. Simple, point blank. Take the microphone off their hands because they're going to talk. So it's a complete bad look for the team. And if, we've always talked about how Red Bull needs a whole new rebrand after the whole Horner thing, but we didn't talk about Ferrari. I think Ferrari really needs to focus this offseason on rebranding themselves and trying to figure out how to bring a better product into 26.
Charles Leclerc is the brand. So if Charles isn't performing, then what brand do they have at this point right now? In the era we're in, I'm not talking about eras past, but right now, Charles Leclerc is the Ferrari brand. And when you've got George Russell, who has more points than Charles Leclerc in a calendar season, not a good look for House of Ferrari. So
No,
I agree with you. I think they would really behoove themselves to come up with a strong, positive media campaign for 2026.
and if Lewis is on his way out, he's got maybe 1-2 more years left in him. If you
And then
piss off
Ollie will go be at
right,
Ferrari.
but here, that's my thing is if you piss off Charles and he leaves, what is the team left with? Ali
Yeah.
Behrman, who, don't get me wrong, I think he's going to do amazing in this sport for decades to come, but I don't think he's ready to have that Ferrari red limelight put on him just yet. So where does the team go if we piss off Charles Leclerc and he goes elsewhere?
Back to Fernando.
That man, that man is going to be
Again.
in his 60s still driving that car.
Can you imagine Fernando and Ollie at Ferrari?
They're just going to make a call to Kimmy and be like, Kimmy, can you please come back and drive for us one more year? But, any last final thoughts on this weekend before we get into my at least god-awful predictions? All right, let's get into it. Predictions.
There's not much to get into.
No.
We
Nope.
probably should end the episode now.
This episode is
because
over.
for the
Just
first
done.
time in the Apex history, we've got 3 goose eggs.
Man.
So,
So just
Josh
All right,
had
so that's
predicted.
it. Congratulations, everyone. We sucked.
later,
Yeah.
guys. Don't forget to follow us.
We had some closeness. Max Lando Leclerc was Josh's podium with Bortoletto in the points. None of that panned out. Paul, you had Max, Oscar, George. Your shocker prediction was actually the closest. You had 1 Williams, 1 Haas, 1 V carb in the points. We got a Haas and a V carb in the points. Alex Albon just outside of points at 11. So
Yes.
you were the closest.
I was close. I was disappointed.
And Max, Lando, Oscar was my prediction, and I had 1 V carb DNF. So no points, big fat goosey goose for all 3 of us. So the points still remain. Josh 17, Meredith 16, Paul 13. So we move on. 3 more races to go. Plenty of opportunity.
We suck at this. I just want you guys to know this. This was awful. Normally there's one of us that gets a point, but nobody got a point. So on that disappointing note, we're going to wrap this up for the day, everybody. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure. Josh, any last final thoughts? No, he's just
Popcorn.
gonna
No,
Popcorn and coffee.
The only thing on his mind right now is that cup of coffee his wife just
I
made.
don't blame him.
because,
I'm gonna go make one the second I get off this call. I'm staring at my Nespresso right here.
Yeah, I got laundry to do. So you two enjoy your cup of coffee. Meredith, any last final thoughts?
No, but I won't be joining you guys next week. I will be traveling for work and then headed to Vegas for the race, but I will send a video with my predictions so the boys can clip it in. So I will still have my predictions in ahead of time. But
Yes, she
Ooh,
will not
guys,
be
have
joining
fun.
us. She will not be joining us for the prediction episode. She will be with us for the Las Vegas episode to tell
Yeah.
us about her firsthand experience at the race. It's going to be cold, so please don't forget your jacket and some mittens.
I got my fit picked out.
I cannot wait to see it. And on that, guys, we wrap it up for the day. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure. I hope everybody has a great rest of your week. Josh and I will be with you guys next week to give you guys our thoughts on the Las Vegas race, give our predictions, and hopefully, for the love of God, we get a little more than a goose egg. Hey, Courtney, she just walked by in the back. She just made a quick little cameo appearance. Oh, hello.
Oh my
and
God, Courtney
she said
cameos
hi.
need
Said
to
hi.
be
We got
seen.
2.
We need Courtney cameos.
I'm gonna start
On
making
that,
her do my
everybody-
prediction. She can do better than I can.
Listen, we might have to do can our family members and significant others make predictions because they might be better than ours. So on that, guys,
For your
please follow us on our social medias, Instagram, YouTube, all the stuff. Please interact with us, like, share, review, share it with everyone you know. Let's try to blow this up as much as we can. Grow this, not blow this up. So on that, have a great week, guys. We will be talking to you guys soon. My English is awful.
Bye.
See ya.